Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and we've got two replays for you today. The first one, submitted by Champion of the World in the KV2, here on the Cliff map. It's a standard battle, but this isn't really the type of KV2 replay that you're probably expecting. In fact, it's not really about Champion of the World at all. It's about the triple Excelsior platoon. Those three guys back there, Battle Ruiner, Renamed User, and Sprühwurst Al Forno, and as you can tell by at least two of their names and what's going on in chat, they're really not here to be playing tanks. Yeah, if you haven't guessed it already, they're a platoon of arseholes. Deliberate professional arseholes. They come from a clan that goes by the name of Renamed by Customer Support, and the entire clan consists of accounts that go by names like Flip for Ban, Battle Ruiner, Permaban Record Holder, Ban Record Holder, They See Me Trollin', Win Rate Decreaser, multiple accounts going by the name of Renamed User with a string of random numbers after it. You get the idea. Every single one of them has multiple games played only in the kind of tanks that you get from free invite codes, tanks like the Excelsior. In fact, the overwhelming majority of the clan members have only ever played games in the Excelsior, although there are a couple of invite code Churchill 3s scattered around there as well. And across the board, as you'd probably expect, their win rate is absolutely terrible. Which of course is exactly what you'd expect of a clan that seems to have been created for no reason other than to troll, grief, and ruin the fun of whoever happens to be unlucky enough to find themselves on their team at any given time. In this battle, in between shouting racist and fascist abuse into chat, they've decided to make life particularly miserable for the Stu 4 on the team. You have a look at the map, you can see them down there in the bottom corner, doing their level best to ensure that he goes for a cliff dive. Hang on, wait for it, any second now. Yep, there it goes. And then of course the two survivors are going to throw themselves off the same cliff, and then spend the rest of the battle spouting more racist and fascist abuse into chat. And really, when a fifth of your team, in fact no, because they took the Stug out as well, so when a quarter of your team has been taken out, not thanks to anything to do with the enemy, right at the start of the match, what chance do you have? So what exactly can Wargaming do about this sort of thing? Because they don't appear to be doing an awful lot. I mean, the clan commander has a 4% win rate, and he's been doing this since the 28th of August 2019. I suspect he's probably been reported a few times, and yet the account still exists. But even if Wargaming were to do something, what exactly could they do that would be effective? Because this entire clan consists of throwaway accounts. Accounts that have been created off the back of invite codes for free tier 5 premium tanks. None of these accounts are the actual accounts of the players. You know, the ones that they actually play World of Tanks on. They're accounts that have been created in a clan that's been created specifically for the purpose of being arseholes. So even if the entire clan, and I'm not expecting this to happen, but even if the entire clan was permabanned today, as long as Wargaming keep giving invite codes out, this clan of trolls, griefers and arseholes and other clans like it are going to continue to exist. And of course nobody realistically expects Wargaming to stop giving away invite codes to World of Tanks, because it's an exceptionally cost-effective and proven way of getting new players into the game. Now, I kind of sympathise with Wargaming on the one hand, because I have no idea what the solution to this problem is, other than permabanning these douche nozzles the second they get identified. But, well, Wargaming don't really appear to be doing that either. I mean, I refuse to believe that these guys have never had reports submitted against them, and yet, just to pick one example, the clan leader himself, with his 4% win rating, 41 average damage per battle and 63 average experience per battle, still has his account active, and it's been going since the 28th of August last year. In fact, the clan's own recruitment page on the World of Tanks web portal proudly proclaims, "We want to thank our idol Klaus Kellerman for featuring the clan in The Biggest Arsehole number 49, which is a video series that Klaus Kellerman does about arseholes. The new publicity will surely help us to grow the clan even faster. If the recruitment speeds up, we might appear on your channel regularly from now on and support your viewers with entertaining content. No need to thank us. PS, the clan is open to all new players. The video that they're referring to there is more than a year old. So they've been doing this, presumably consequence-free, for at least a year, and the clan currently has 84 players in it, although I strongly suspect that the actual number of players in the clan is far, far lower than that, because this all stinks of throwaway accounts that get generated every time one of them gets a fresh invite code. So it's probably more like 3 or 4 people with 20 or more throwaway accounts each, and none of those, of course, are their actual real World of Tanks accounts. So how do you ban that? I'm open to suggestions. And now for something completely different. This, well, he's not fooling anybody. He says his name is ABCD13, but we all know it's the return of Dave. Dave, here on the Mannerheim Line map, which used to be called Arctic, although the actual map name in the game files was always Mannerheim Line. The map, of course, is named after the Finnish defensive line built to defend Finland against the Russians, named after the Swedish general with the German name who was commanding the Finnish forces. It's all very cosmopolitan. Dave here in the Tier 8 Mark 1 Centurion, although when it's fully upgraded like this with a 20-pounder gun and that turret, it's actually a Mark 3 Centurion, but yeah, whatever. Who's counting? There is an actual Mark 1 Centurion in this battle, and by that I mean a stock Tier 8 Centurion, which fits the Mark 1 specification, also on Dave's team. And we're going to be seeing quite a bit of that guy in this battle, because he is going to prove to be a very useful teammate. Fully upgraded, as Dave's Centurion is, in the Mark 3 configuration, it's not a bad tank. I mean, nobody would ever accuse a fully upgraded Mark 1 Centurion in World of Tanks of being an overpowered tank, but it's definitely not bad. The stock version, however, is pretty terrible. On with only a 17-pounder gun, and there he goes. Balls Life 27, going for the Object 416, and to his great credit, I love this, Dave goes with him, understanding instinctively that they're both going to be far better off if they team up to take out that Object 416, and there's Dave's first kill. So, the upgraded Mark 1 Centurion, which is effectively a Mark 3 Centurion. What is so good about it? Well, as you can see from the shots dinging off the turret, this is a very, very nice turret. And the 20-pounder gun has fantastic damage per minute. The actual Mark 1 there, with the 17-pounder gun and the stock turret, not so much. For a start, that turret isn't going to be anywhere near as reliable at blocking shots as the Mark 3 turret, and while the 17-pounder gun is a great gun to have at Tier 5 or 6 and maybe even Tier 7, it really doesn't cut the mustard at Tier 8. Both versions of the tank do enjoy very good gun depression, the difference being that with the upgraded Mark 3 turret you can actually fire from a position, exploiting that gun depression, and expect to bounce the majority of shots that hit your turret. And what the hell is that T26E5 doing? Another Tier 8 tank with excellent gun depression, typical of American medium tanks. Absolutely no need for that guy to climb the ridge in order to fire at the targets on the other side, but he did climb the ridge, and all too predictably he paid the price for it. By the way, if you've ever wondered what that second gun is sticking out of the front of the stock Centurion's turret, that's a 20mm Polston cannon. The Polston was a Polish design, a simplified and cheaper of the Swiss 20mm Oerlikon. The Polston was designed to be a cheaper, simpler, equally effective and easier to manufacture version of the Swiss Oerlikon, although the Swiss Oerlikon was itself based on a First World War German design, the Becker Type M2 20mm autocannon, which, believe it or not, while it mostly saw service as a German anti-aircraft gun, and is still in service with many navies today as both an anti-aircraft and close-range anti-surface weapon. But even in World War I, Germany were putting those things on aircraft. Admittedly, it was too heavy and complex to be mounted on a single-engine biplane or triplane, but they were mounted successfully on large twin-engine bombers and ground attack aircraft. Germany really was way ahead of its time. I suppose, bearing this in mind, it probably shouldn't come as any real surprise that Germany was, I think, the only combatant to enter World War II with mass-produced aircraft that featured autocannon armament rather than machine gun armament. Oh, look at that. It turns out that you don't actually need to use gold ammo if you just know where to aim. Most of the time. So, yeah. What was the point of sticking a cheap Polish version of an effective Swiss version of a groundbreaking German 20mm autocannon into the turret of a tank that's armed with a 17-pounder gun anyway, and later a 20-pounder, and even later still a 105mm gun? I don't really know. I've read somewhere, can't remember where, that it was used as a ranging gun, and that's something that certainly happened. It wasn't uncommon in the days before tanks were routinely fitted with things like thermal imaging devices and laser rangefinders, that the coaxial machine gun, usually a 50 caliber machine gun, would be used as a ranging weapon. The idea being that if you were hitting the target with the coaxial gun, then you would also hit the target at certain ranges with the main gun. But the Polston gun isn't coaxial. It's mounted in its own independently swiveling ball mount. So that can't be the reason. And I really don't see what benefit having a 20mm gun in the turret next to a 17-pounder or 20-pounder or 105mm gun would be, because it's not going to be able to do anything that the main gun isn't going to be able to do, and if it's there to deal with infantry that get too close, well, surely a machine gun would be better. So the Polston didn't last long. In fact, by the time the Mark II was designed, they'd scrapped it and stuck a coaxial machine gun in the turret instead. Earlier versions of the Mark V Centurion, before it was upgunned to the 105mm main gun, actually had two coaxial machine guns, one 30 caliber and one 50 caliber, and the 50 caliber was actually used as a ranging device. What are you up to now, Dave? What are you and the Pershing up to? Because you did stop the enemy's advance down to the south hard, but you couldn't exploit it. Effectively, the enemy team stopped your advance down to the south just as hard as you stopped theirs, so you spent the best part of the last couple of minutes just sort of sniping at each other. It was turning into a bit of a stalemate down there. Not so much elsewhere on the map, though. Ooh. Dave's team, the second he leaves, are starting to take casualties. But it looks like the enemy team are getting sick and tired of camping in the south as well, and are trying to break through the middle, or reinforce the tanks that they already have fighting on the northern end of the map. Well, Dave's going to see, along with the teammates who are already at the northern end of the map, exactly what he can do about that. The problem is that just as Dave vacates the southern end of the map, that's when things all start going a bit pear-shaped down there. That KV-4 that Dave left alive has just knocked out the IS-3, the Pershing's died, and there's just the Su-101 and the Mark I Centurion. Although he should fairly easily be able to finish off this Pantera. And yes, by the way, in case you hadn't already noticed, Dave does not have sixth sense. Still, he's managed to kill the Pantera. Although not before it killed the Scorpion G. And even worse, the T-34 down to the south has just killed the Su-101, which means Balls Life 27 down there in the Mark I Centurion, who's already lost half of his health, is the last friendly tank left alive in the southern end of the map, and the enemy team know it, and they're all closing in. Dave to the rescue. And not just Dave to the rescue, the Rheinmetall Borsig is coming with him, and the Hawk 30 has spotted an opportunity to try to flank around, but Dave doesn't want to get all the way down there. He wants to help the other Mark I, he doesn't necessarily want to die with him. And again, this is a great spot from which to use the Centurion's fantastic gun depression. Although, yeah, there's two of them, three of them down there now. They're going to lose the other Mark I, but they're going to make them pay for it. They're definitely going to make them pay for it. What is that TS5 doing? Why would you cross all of that open ground when you could have just stayed on the right side corner with all of your frontal armour pointing in the direction of people shooting at you? Oh, there goes the gold. But, well, you have to kind of expect it at this stage of the battle when there are only a few tanks left, and Dave's firing gold as well, so all's fair in love and war, I guess. The thing is, if they're emptying their pockets at him, he... Yep. Under most circumstances, you can expect the Mark I Centurion with the Mark III Centurion turret to do quite well in this kind of hold-down situation, but not so much when they're firing gold at you. I mean, it's still a tough, well-angled turret and gun manlet, and you can, and do, still bounce shots, but it's not something you can rely on to save your life, especially when you have this much health left. At the same time, this is kind of typical of World of Tanks players, because they've got a choice between a Centurion on this amount of health and a Rheinmetall Borsig that has no armour. And if they could just think, rather than rolling their faces all over the 2 key on their keyboard, and load the high explosive, both of which would have been equally effective against both of these tanks under these circumstances. But, well, thinking is hard, isn't it? The thing is, thinking is so much more effective. Dave immobilises the T-34, got the wreck of the KV-4 between him and the T-34's gun, and then blows him away by pumping a shot into the other end of the tank, sticking out beyond the wreck of the KV-4. Well, Dave, it's 2 on 2. You and the Hawk 30. You get... Okay, Dave, it's 2 on 1. You and your 17 health Centurion against the Pershing and the SU-130 PM. So how are you going to play this, Dave? He is getting plenty of backseat coaching from Balls Life 27, his teammate and the other Mark 1 Centurion. But I'm pretty sure that Dave does actually know what he's doing. I mean, note the way he's threading the tank through the trees there very carefully, not knocking any of them over, because while he is in the low ground here and he's unlikely to be spotted, trees falling over might be spotted. Now Dave has to toss the coin here between being able to see what's coming and being able to do something about it without being spotted. And remember, he doesn't have sixth sense, so the first time he's going to know he's been spotted is when somebody's shooting at him. And he only has 17 health left. Now he's being told that he's not hull down enough here, and that's kind of true, but also Dave needs to actually see across that open ground in order to judge whether or not it's safe to take the shot. What he doesn't want to do is sit kind of high on the ridge there, still out of sight behind the bushes, and take the shot from there. He wants to get up there in order to be able to see what's coming. Once he sees it, back off, then take the shot. Hopefully far enough away from the bushes that he won't be seen firing through them, but even if he is, he's in a hold down position, and hoping that the enemy aren't firing high explosive back at him, because there's a good chance they know exactly how little health he's on. Of course, we don't know for sure because we can't see the enemy team's chat, and of course Dave doesn't know how much health the enemy Pershing and SU-130 PM are on either. He's asking his team, but nobody really knows for sure. It's been mentioned there in chat that if this Pershing and SU-130 PM are good, they'll time their approach so they come from both directions. But that's only true if they know that Dave is here. It's been a long time since he was spotted. He could be anywhere. And Dave has positioned himself to take that possibility into account. He just has to hope he sees that. Oh, hello. Well, he's seen one of them first. Hello, Mr. SU-130 PM. You look like a one-shot kill to me. There's the shot, backs off. Doesn't wait. I mean, he doesn't have sixth sense anyway. But the Pershing could have crept up on him unspotted. Except he didn't. They both came from the same direction. Okay, Pershing's fired. Pershing is also a one-shot kill. The Pershing doesn't have the turret that the Centurion has, but it does have a good gun manlet. You really don't want to hit the gun manlet. Oh, yep, I think you hit the gun manlet. But he fired, and judging by the flash of the explosion that accompanied it, he did have high explosive loaded, but it seems to have unfortunately struck the wreck of the SU-130 PM in front of him. And while the Pershing's 90mm gun does have slightly higher alpha damage than the Centurion's 20-pounder, it compensates for that with a slightly slower reload. So Dave, it's good to see you again, and in fine form I see. You all know him, you all love him. It's good to see you back, and it's good to see that you still haven't lost it. Hope you enjoyed the return of Dave in today's video, folks, because that is it for today. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.